Hello, beloved listeners, and welcome to Sneeple at the Movies, film criticism by people who actually like film. Join us as we dive into movies we love, movies we respect, and movies we wish we could unsee. From the kids who are 4 hosts short of a 7-man crew, it's Sneeple at the Movies. I'm Ezra.
I'm Maddie.
And I'm Helena.
So funny.
What's funny?
Oh no,
just saying our names.
No, you sound a little goofy again. It's, but it does not matter at all.
Oh my god,
we're not going to worry about it right now.
Listeners,
I just think it's so funny.
It is just so frustrating. My computer, or if I think it's Discord. I'm blaming Discord's fault.
I think so too.
I mean, am I slowly coming back to normal audio wise?
It like shifts back and forth a little. It's so weird. Technology is weird.
Yeah, I hate that.
Someday I'm gonna just
come
over to your house and crack your computer open and just fix all the problems that we've been having for like 6 years.
And also, I don't think it's not my computer, because my computer has changed and the problems persist.
So it's you.
There's something else, I think. No, because that's impossible, because I'm perfect.
That's true.
So it has to be.
It might be your
technology.
Yeah.
Helena, get rid of the cursed amulet.
It could
Helena,
be
you have to get rid of the cursed amulet. We've been telling you this.
It could be the cursed amulet, which is actually the wire attaching my microphone to my computer, perhaps.
Yeah.
I'd believe it.
So, anyway.
None of that is relevant.
Mm-hmm.
Hello. No. Welcome home. We've got like 3 other episodes in the tank, but I think we'll put this one out first.
My dad is really excited about the Robert Redford episode.
Ben just said, he asked if we were doing this because Tetsuya Nakata just passed away.
No, I didn't know that.
Yes, and I said, no, we've been planning to do this for a while. But I guess, I guess that everything happens for a reason. That's a bad thing to say about someone passing away. More just the stars aligned for us to release this episode.
Another weird timing one, as we mentioned today, is that on the day of recording this podcast, 2 of the stars from the Magnificent Seven remake, one of the movies that we will be talking about today, both got nominated for Golden Globes.
Yes.
So congratulations.
Congratulations to our
and they're
queens.
the ones who are married in the movie.
Yeah.
So that's nice. That was just another weird timing thing. That's like, oh, I didn't plan that, but thank you. We're a very timely podcast.
Yeah, we're really good at this.
Do you know the Golden Globes have a Best Podcast Award now?
They do?
Did we get nominated?
I'll have to check. Hang on.
Okay.
Let me look.
They do have a category for cinematic and box office achievement, which made me laugh at work.
Yeah. That's been ongoing.
Is that for people who sold the most movie? Like,
yeah, it's like, congratulations,
you
made the most money. That's stupid.
As the Mad Men meme goes, that's what the money's for.
That's stupid as hell.
It's like, oh hey, do you want an award for winning the most money? Yes, I already have one. It's all the money.
It's the money I have. What the hell?
Here are the nominations for Best Podcast. We're not on here.
Okay, well,
so we have Armchair Expert with Dax Shepard from Wondery, which, wow, that's a choice.
I don't even know what
Call
that
Her
is.
Daddy by SiriusXM. Good Hang with Amy Poehler on Spotify. The Mel Robbins Podcast on SiriusXM. Smartless on SiriusXM. And Up First from NPR National Public Radio. Yeah, wow.
So a bunch of crazy picks,
representation from SiriusXM.
I was going to say, a lot of
it makes me
from
feel
SiriusXM, huh?
Yeah, and Up First is the only one that I have even listened to and indeed heard of, which just reminds me that I live in a completely. There are people. I mean, I've heard of the Dax Shepard one too, but not positively. It just reminds you sometimes that there are people who are living in entirely different universes than your own, and it's really just throws into relief.
Everyone I know listens to history podcasts.
Yeah, I listen to gay podcasts like Juno Steel and
I listen to
movie podcasts.
Everyone I know listens to narrative podcasts and stuff about the Napoleonic Wars. That's it.
I listen to Till Death Do Us Blart every Thanksgiving. Yeah. It's one of my traditions, my holiday traditions. But I don't see that on here.
Yeah. It's fucking bullshit. Anyway, we're not on there, so I don't care.
Anyway. Nope.
It's because we were off for 2 months. If we had kept going, we would have been on the list.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Next year.
We also may have insulted them a fair few times as
well. You know, maybe they should be better. If they had put us on the list, I would have stopped insulting them.
We're not
I
playing.
probably wouldn't have.
I'm not with the man. I can be bought out. One out of 3 sequel can be bought out.
Hollywood Foreign Press Association?
Steamwillthemoovies@gmail.com. I'm the only one who uses that email, so...
That is true.
I
make us an offer.
You guys have the login, but as far as I know, you don't use it, so... I'm just saying.
I've forgotten it.
I've never tried.
If it's written down somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't know where it is.
You have access to the defunct Twitter also, so... But once again,
that
that's
is
defunct. So it doesn't matter. Let's do what we steeped, hey?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Let's do what we steeped.
Okay. I rewatched Clue at a Halloween party. Helena was here for this. I watched all of the Final Destination movies. With Helena and friend of the show, Leia, which was such a wild ride to go on. And I had a great time.
Good.
I saw The Evil Dead in concert, which was super fun. That's one of those movies you never pay attention to the music in, but when there's like an orchestra there playing the music along with the movie, you're like, oh damn, the music. It's really interesting. Rewatched Halloween 78, you know what's up. Watched Magnificent Seven 2016 and the original from 1960. Wonder why that is. Watched a lot of TV and YouTube in there. Been watching anime, playing a lot of video games. That's been my media consumption, I would say, for the most part, is the video games and the YouTube essays. I don't know. I've been very busy and doing a lot of weird shit and living my truth. And playing a lot of Fallout 4. I played Fallout 4 while I rewatched Magnificent Seven 2016, which was kind of a weird experience, but it's what I did. And I can't undo it now.
That's true.
And I wouldn't. It made it palatable. Sorry to fans of Magnificent Seven 2016.
Those James cannot be unvideoed.
Hey.
Yeah.
It's better than my experience of what I was doing while watching.
It's true.
At least the first hour of Magnificent Seven remake. So.
Yeah. Did you finish it?
No, I finished it this morning, but I just literally could not focus because the same song that is indeed going through my head now was going through my head then.
That's fair.
And
so, you were like, I could be listening to that instead of watching this movie.
I literally could have, and indeed I did. That was the next thing that I did, and then I also anyway. We'll get into that.
Oh, also, while we were prepping for Sneeple, I rewatched the first episode of Cowboy Bebop. Because I was like, man, I like Westerns, but you know what I could be watching? Cowboy Bebop, which is a Western in space. Still one of, the best anime intros ever, maybe.
It's true.
Look it up on YouTube.
They don't make them like that anymore.
It's so good. Ugh. Firefly wishes it was Cowboy Bebop. I forget which one of you said that, but it's true.
That was me. I will take credit for that if Joss Whedon wants to sue me for that. But he knows it's true.
But he knows it's true. He did that on purpose. Probably. Anyway, that's me.
Probably. Cute. I rewatched Frankenstein, Clue at the same Halloween party, Bride of Frankenstein, all the Final Destinations, as you mentioned. That was very fun. Assault on Precinct 13, which I showed to my parents. I also forced my dad to rewatch Weapons with me, which he actually kind of enjoyed. I also made my parents... This is mostly my experience living at home now is making my parents watch things. I showed them Tampopo, and we also rewatched Bringing Up Baby. Now, from the new ones that I watched Slumber Party Massacre 2, Night of the Demon, the Jacques Tourneur movie from the 1950s, or 40s? I'm not going to look that up right now because I don't want to create audio crimes. Sleepaway Camp, the infamous Sleepaway Camp, finally watched it. What a film. John Carpenter's Starman, Peeping Tom, A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, The Mastermind, which I went to go see in theaters with my dad, the new Kelly Reichardt film with Josh O'Connor. Very good.
I think I missed that in theaters.
Yeah, it was good. If you can find it on the DVDs or on YouTube, whichever one is more convenient, I recommend. To Have and Have Not, I watched that. I saw Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein in theaters with my parents, which we don't have to get into all that right now. We'll talk about it eventually, I'm sure. That one's one where I'm just like, we could talk about that, but I'm going to save that for when, it gets to be closer to the Helena Awards season.
Yeah.
And I have things to say about new releases. I feel like that's more of the time to do that.
That makes sense.
Didn't love it, though. I can say that. Sorry. The Day the Earth Blew Up, the new Looney Tunes Daffy Duck and Porky Pig movie. I watched that. Red River, which is one of my dad's favorite westerns with Montgomery Clift. And wow, that's a gay film for sure. One of many gay westerns I've watched recently. My dad and I and my cousin went to go see Begonia. I watched Caught by the Tides. Took my parents to see Sentimental Value. Watched the original Magnificent Seven. Watched a French film called Misericordia from this year, which is on the Criterion Channel. As is Caught by the Tides, by the way. If people want to watch new movies that have come out this year that are on the Criterion Channel, those are 2 examples. I also watched Seven Samurai for some reason for the first time. I saw Hamnet, which we're not going to talk about this episode because we're going to save a special episode, almost half about that and half about something else. I watched Sorry Baby. I went to the Regal Fox Tower Cinema, me and 20 other baby boomers, and I went to go see Merrily We Roll Along, the pro shot from the 2023 Broadway production with Jonathan Groff, Lindsay Mendez, and Daniel Radcliffe. We are not going to talk about that right now because, again, we will be here all night. Ezra and I have already basically just destroyed what was left of the live blogging channel on Discord for 2 days and just were like, this is my home now.
I hope everyone else just muted that fucking thing.
Well, here's the thing. Here's where I was coming from. I was going back and forth between putting stuff in that one, putting stuff in the Sneeple chat, and I'm just straight up just DMing you on Discord.
Yeah.
And I was choosing which ones I put in there very carefully, and I was like, I get messages on Discord all the time because I can't be bothered to mute certain channels that of stuff that I'm not really interested in, and I just go and move on. I swipe, move on, or go, oh, that's cool, and move along. So it was a lot. It was kind of like that time when we got into a discussion about Anakin Skywalker, and Ezra checked their phone on their lunch break, and there was 250 messages in one channel of us talking about Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah, it was over 300.
It was a lot. Yeah. So it was kind of like that moment, but also in fairness, we were talking about Merrily We Roll Along, which is one of the best musicals ever written, so I think it's, it's fine.
Yeah, thing that Helena and I are both notably completely normal and not at all insane about.
Totally normal about it. Definitely not putting my parents through forced, Clockwork Orange style, but with your ears listening to the soundtrack to it right now. Definitely not doing that. For example, the documentary The Best Worst Thing That Ever Could Have Happened, which is about the original production of and the original cast of Merrily We Roll Along, which I just kind of put on. I was like, we're watching this now. Okay, bye. Anyway, we'll talk about that in a different episode. And then I also watched the Magnificent Seven remake from, was it 2017 we decided?
2016.
2016. That makes sense. Okay. Yes, I also watched that. And I watched that in 2 days because I was trying to watch it last night, the day after I went to go see the Merrily We Roll Along pro shot, and couldn't focus because I had the music from Merrily stuck in my head the whole time, and I was like, I can't do this, actually. I need to lie in bed and listen to the soundtrack and also read portions of Finishing the Hat. Anyway.
Yeah.
That's me.
Yeah. Okay. I rewatched Fellowship of the Ring. I went to go see One Battle After Another. I rewatched Master and Commander, presumably because I was having a bad day. I rewatched the It miniseries while doing a bunch of last-minute Halloween costume construction on a Halloween costume that then I did not win the work costume contest, and I'm still kind of grumpy about it. I I went to go see Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein, also with my parents. I watched the Tetris movie with
What?
Taron Egerton.
Yep.
Which is about the invention and popularization of the video game Tetris. It's actually pretty good.
Okay.
It's an Apple original, and it's like a solid, like, I watched that post Thanksgiving dinner, so it's a solid, like, I've eaten too many carbohydrates and now I can't get off the couch movie. I saw Terminator 2 Judgment Day, which is the only Terminator movie I've ever seen, and I think I'm gonna keep it that way. It was really good. I went to go see the Merrily We Roll Along Pro Shot, which rewired my brain. I watched both the Magnificent Seven original and the remake, and somewhere in there I finished Clair Obscur Expedition 33, which really rewired my brain. Like, I am a different person after finishing that game. I finally went back to Baldur's Gate 3, and I was trying to figure out what I had been doing, and the answer was also I went on a family vacation to Arches and Canyonlands National Park in Utah, and had an incredible time, and also just didn't watch any video things for an entire week, which was probably a good reset for my brain. And took a bunch of really pretty cool 35mm black and white film pictures while I was there.
Yeah.
So, yeah. That's me.
Can I propose,
yes,
really quick, that if we ever watch Tetris again for some reason, that we pair it with the Mike Feist pinball movie, in which he has a mustache that looks like this.
The what?
What?
Sure.
Yeah, exactly. Look at the poster.
Oh, done. Yes, absolutely.
Pinball. The man who saved the game.
I would climb that man like a tree.
Listen. I'm looking at it, and I'm like, the more I look at it, the more I'm like, you know what? Sure. Mustache, I can work with it. I just think it's a really good combo.
That is an extremely funny, that would be a very funny double feature. What can I say? The thing about me is that I unironically think 70s porn stashes are hot, so.
I love this for you, and I know I'm beginning to come around myself.
Look, I'm gay. And I like there are some aesthetics that I just think were really good, and that's one.
And I love you and support you.
Yeah. And sometimes I join you. Really quick before we transition, I need to go grab a Halls for my throat because my throat is being difficult again.
Helena, you're too late. Sure. I've already started transitioning.
Go get.
Not what I meant.
Go get your lozenge. I will also say while Helena's gone. One of the ththings that I forgot to mention is that I visited my parents for Thanksgiving, and we started watching. My stepmom was like, "Oh, I really want to watch." I remember Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, and I want to watch it. And I was like, "Oh yeah, I know." She was like describing a movie, and I was like, "Oh," my dad and I were like, "That sounds like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles," and she was like, "Yeah, let's watch it." And I've been meaning to watch it for years and never got around to it. And I was like, I mean, I don't know if I want to watch it right now, but I'll do it. So we started watching it, and I was having fun. We got about halfway through, and she was like, "I don't think this is the movie I was thinking of." As we were, like, slowly coming through the movie, she was like, "Oh, I don't think I watched the beginning. That's so weird." And then we kept going, and it just became increasingly clear this was not the movie she was thinking of.
Oh my
and I
God,
think we
that's
figured
so
out what
funny.
movie she was thinking of. I don't remember what it was. So I watched half of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles because we got halfway through. My stepmom was like, "This is not the movie I was thinking of, and I don't like this movie." And I was like, "Wow, what a 180! Woof. We don't have to watch this anymore. We can stop watching this." So we did. So I have to watch the back half eventually, and I will, because I actually did find myself enjoying it. I was like, it's fun to watch Steve Martin play the straight man.
It's enjoyable, and John Candy is really wonderful.
Yes,
in that
they're
movie.
both so good.
I was listening the entire time.
What the shit? Go get your thing.
No, I got it. I just went upstairs with my headphones on, and I stay connected.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it was very fun, and I won't lie, I do think Steve Martin is attractive.
Well, yes.
He's a good-looking man.
He is, especially in that movie, in that era.
That was a good era for Steve Martin. It's true.
It was.
This is why Pennies from Heaven is such a dilemma, because he's so hot in Pennies from Heaven, and Bernadette Peters is so hot in Pennies from Heaven. But I don't like that movie.
And also
very much.
but also it's the movie Pennies from Heaven, which is notably
rough.
That's sad. I'm sorry, it's just not. I don't think it's that good a movie.
I agree with you. Thank you so much for validating my opinion.
It's like it's okay. I don't know. It seems
I've
like
never
the kind
seen
of
it.
thing
You
I
don't
should
need to
really like,
sugarcoat
and I
it.
don't.
Yeah, it's definitely like me, known cynic, being like, I think this movie is actually too cynical. It does have one really great musical number with the Christopher Walken dance.
Yes, that is true.
That I think is just truly just so very special. But a lot of it I was like, this is just like pretty hateful, and I think does sort of misunderstand the point of the movies, that it is not parodying or satirizing, just sort of like, I don't know, it didn't work for me.
Yeah, not
many
parodying
ways.
or
Anyway,
satirizing, but sort of a secret third thing. I don't know what though. Yeah. God, I haven't watched that movie in a really long time. And you know what? I probably not going to rewatch it anytime soon. And that's okay. So, welcome to another Remake Rumble. I feel like I should figure out some kind of like sound effect if we're going to keep doing these.
Remake Rumble.
We could do the John Cena intro music.
That might be copyrighted. I don't think we can do that.
That's probably copyrighted.
I don't think I can hit that soundboard thing, but yeah, just imagine the John Cena like intro theme.
Yeah, do us all a favor. Just take a moment. I almost said Photoshop when I meant edit that in.
Just like picture it in your mind's eye. Yeah, and his name is Remake Rumble.
And sounds.
Yeah.
Your mind's ear. So
anyway, so we're doing the Mag 7s and Seven Samurai, also, correct?
Yeah. So the joke here was that it's a remake rumble between the Magnificent Seven 1960 and the Magnificent Seven 2016. But wait, who's that? It's Seven Samurai with the steel chair.
Correct.
Because notably, of course, the Magnificent Seven 1960 is an American remake of the Kurosawa film Seven Samurai, which translates that story into the American Wild West and makes it into a Western, which does a lot of... It highlights some very interesting parallels, I think, and has some things to say about masculinity and what a monopoly on violence, what part of masculinity sometimes involves a monopoly on violence that I think is really interesting. And then they remade it in 2016 and expanded a lot of story elements in a way that I think are kind of superficially interesting, but also
kind of made it lose the sauce,
watering down the story.
Yeah, my main thing is like, and I don't want to get too in the weeds before we describe like the basic plot for those who don't know, but it raises the stakes of almost every single element of it, right? Especially the central conflict of why the Magnificent Seven themselves are needed. And I guess that was a way of being like, oh my god, the stakes are so huge. It's so important. Everything's so important. But in a weird way, it made the emotional impact of it less, because it didn't really feel... I mean, we'll get into that, the personal aspect of it as well for certain characters, but for some reason the heroism of it that is in Seven Samurai and Magnificent Seven, the original, seemed somehow diluted, as you say, like watered down. And I don't know, they spent... Seven Samurai and Magnificent Seven spend a lot of time, as we said, on the prep, like preparing for the battle. And in Seven Samurai even, it's like more of a series of skirmishes that occur throughout the movie rather than one huge blowout battle at the very end. But the remake of Magnificent Seven, I felt spent maybe, I mean, I guess it was about equal, but the battle scene felt, for some reason, so much longer. Because I'm thinking of, like, when I paused the movie last night, like an hour and 15 minutes in, they were just kind of going through, like, a brief, like, montage of, we're training the men, you know? But it felt like that was a smaller part of the story.
Yeah.
And I also do have to ask, Ezra, did
Yes.
you get around to watching A Bug's Life?
I did not, unfortunately, get around to watching A Bug's Life. I was going to do that before we recorded, but I had to make soup instead so that I would stop.
It's a lot of movies.
Going out for lunch at work. I haven't seen it in so long, but I did remember it better, and I am actually inclined to agree with you that it has it shares a lot of DNA with the Magnificent Seven.
I mean, the basic premise is basically the exact same.
Yeah.
Like that it begins with, which is, and this is kind of a good like primer for people who maybe haven't seen the Magnificent Seven movies.
What is the Magnificent Seven?
What is the blank
about?
seven?
It's about these farmers. Yeah, they're like gathering grain, and the reason that they're gathering grain and why it's such a big deal is that they have this deal with the grasshoppers. The grasshoppers eat most of their supplies and then let them have whatever is left over. And something goes wrong, and they take, this thing happens. So one of them is like, I'm gonna go get people to defend us, which is literally what happens in the Magnificent Seven, kind of, sort of. Except in the Magnificent Seven and Seven Samurai, the farmers are like, we have supplies, we're dwindling, but we're just fed up because we feel if these bandits take any more of our supplies, like, we are going to starve. We're not going to have any food left to feed ourselves. The main difference, of course, in A Bug's Life, besides the fact that they're,
bugs,
is that the people that he brings back to defend them are not, in fact, actual warriors or cowboys or what have you, but are actors. So that's awkward. And then Galaxy Quest sort of kind of has a similar thing to that as well, even though thinking of Galaxy Quest as a remake of Bug's Life is hilarious. I'm just saying that they did come out within a year of each other, though. I'm just throwing that out there.
That's that one is anyway. It's been a really long time since I've seen Galaxy Quest. So.
Helena, I feel like you're standing. This is like it's always sunny. You're standing in front of the corkboard.
Yes, this is a little bit of a standing in front of the corkboard moment, but
there's no Carol
not
in
with
HR.
The Bug's Life thing though, because I'm not actually the only person who has made those connections.
No, that one I am inclined to agree with you.
Quest,
but the Galaxy Quest one
Galaxy
is
Quest,
a little bit.
It's not a Magnificent Seven remake, but all I'm saying is, what if it was?
Anyway, that
is true.
Sure
I am always
weird.
Asking that. Yeah.
So
anyway,
so as laid out there a little bit. So the original plot of Seven Samurai is it's a village in Japan, and it's at the tail end. I'm gonna get the timing wrong, but it's at a very specific moment in Japanese history. Pardon me while I commit
I think it's like late
crimes.
16th century, I want to say.
Yeah, so that movie, it takes place in 1586, which is this very specific period of it gets called the Warring States period. So it's a period of civil war and social upheaval that in what had previously been a very like aggressively ordered society. And so you have a village in the mountains in the middle of fucking nowhere, which is repeatedly raided by this gang of bandits. And they're like, if they keep taking our food, we're gonna starve. We can't take this shit anymore. What do we do? We're gonna try to hire some samurai to protect us. and you have this, but they're samurai, but they're ronin. They're people who have this very specific skill set and occupy this very specific niche in society, which is primarily about having a monopoly on violence, but they have no... They are without a place. Like they're going for people who have this skill set, but they don't really fit anymore. They have no, they're not commanded by any feudal lord. They're kind of out here just
I have not seen
around.
Seven Samurai, but like the idea of a Ronin warrior is because they are lordless often for a reason. They don't have like the honor or the power that a samurai would have, much like a gun for hire. They are like,
yeah,
there's a post on Tumblr talking about how like the men of the Wild West are very comparable to like the end of the age of like samurai and ronin and things like that. So it makes sense very much why, if you're translating this film to like an American audience, why you would just be like cowboys, because it's there. It makes sense.
Yeah.
It's a very easy translation.
And it's the specific idea of like you have a place in society where if you have any kind of law enforcement, it's either not reliable or not accessible or both. And so there's no justice that can be meted out, or there is no justice available. There is only violence, and who can control violence and who can do it on whose behalf.
Yeah.
And what it means to be one of the people who deals in violence versus being one of the people who doesn't. And so the Magnificent Seven remake translates this to very specifically a village in Mexico, which was, that was a surprise to me because I had seen the remake when it came out, and then I watched the remake first because I wanted to give it a fairer shot. I've decided to start watching... I've decided to start watching the remakes first because I feel like a lot of times these movies get remade and then I'm like, oh, it turns out the original is really good, and now I gotta watch the remake. Oh man, this just like isn't as good, and I feel like watching it watching the remake first helps me like treat it as its own film.
Yeah, that's how I do it too.
You know what? All right. So you fast forward to the 1960 Magnificent Seven remake, and you have a village in Mexico which is repeatedly raided by a gang of bandits, and the bandits this has historically been a very lucrative lifestyle for them. It has made them wealthy, they eat well, they have, they have the resources to continue taking what they want by violence, but their ability to do that is waning as quote-unquote civilization encroaches, and like the lawlessness is going away. And so you have these two sets of people who are at these like extremes of scratching out a life for themselves, and the farmers are like, okay, fuck this, we can't do this anymore, I can't stand it anymore, we're gonna buy guns. And they go over the border into the US because even then there's a lot of guns, which made me sort of flinch a little bit. I was like, wow, fuck, we really are just like this, aren't we? And what they find is that it is much cheaper to hire a man with a gun than it is to try to buy a gun. Because these guys who make their living by violence are also their niche in society is going away. You meet the first couple of characters you meet, one of them is about to hang up his gun belt and take a job as a grocery clerk. Because...
Oh, I thought that was a joke, honestly.
I mean, it's a joke, but it is also, like...
They do make the point of saying, like, yeah, man, honestly, you will make a better, more steady living wage doing that than what we're asking you to do.
You will be, it's all trade-offs. You know, you won't be your own master. You know, you won't be your own master anymore. You won't be your own boss. You won't be able to just pick up whenever you want and get on your horse and ride into the next town, but you'll also have a reliable paycheck and a reliable place to sleep and all of these things. And a lot of this movie, because it ends up being about these guys who can't do anything else. They have made everything about them has been about, I'm a gunman, this is what I do, this is what I'm really good at, and I have given up other opportunities, no romantic partner, no kids, no house, none of these things, because that's something that other people do. And so you have these men who are this specific kind of guy, and a lot of them sort of know each other, or they sort of know of each other, but as they're putting the gang together, because you have Yul, they hire Yul Brynner who's sort of your anchor point, which is that character's then played by Denzel Washington in the remake. And he sort of just says, okay, well, all right, I'll do it. They're offering them $20, which is like nothing. In the Seven Samurai, they're basically offering them food. This is something where it's like, they're a class of people whose glory days are behind them. And they end up, in a lot of ways, choosing to go out with something worth fighting for instead of changing. I'm kind of rambling around here. If anybody wants to jump in, I feel like I'm kind of...
I mean, yeah, so
this is meandering.
Very cogent.
Yeah, that's the core concept, right? We're getting the crew together. There's 7 of us. All of us are signing up for something that is, if you're looking at it on paper, honestly, not worth our fucking time. But we're doing it. We're probably gonna get killed. The odds are desperately not in our favor. The person who is coming at us has all the power, both kind of like society-wise, and also like in terms of guns. I haven't seen Seven Samurai yet. I didn't have time. It's been 2 months, and I forgot we were doing this, and so I just had to cram it in today. And then I was like, I don't got time for 3.5 hour of movie that I desperately want to see.
There are guns in Seven Samurai. It becomes a lot more about horses and armor and armaments and like.
I was gonna say that if this takes place in the late 1500s, this is not a gun situation.
No, but the tools of violence. Right.
They have the manpower. And, obviously the end result is, yay, we won, but at a cost. But at least the cost of those people is they died for something good and they died heroes. And then they wander back out of town. I feel like this is a very classic trope, right? Seven Samurai came out in 1954.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And then
54.
Original Mag 7 was 1960. So these are tropes that have been around for 75 years. At least the United States. No, 65 years. I know how to do math. Still a long fucking time, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
And that's a very classic trope of, like, we wander into town and we do our good thing and then we wander back out. Helena linked something in the Steeple group chat talking about, like, episode 4 of The Mandalorian has this exact same thing, where it's this town desperately needs help because there's something in the remake, it's a robber baron. In the original, it is just a band of beefier outlaws. So we have to hire other outlaws. And that's the summary. It's really, even if you have not watched these movies, if I say, like, what if a man or men wandered into town and saved your town and then left, and or, like, some of them died, you'd be like, oh yeah, duh. Welcome to Westerns. And that is the core concert of this. Core concert? Yeah. Core concept. That is where this comes from. Thanks, I appreciate you guys.
So thank you Akira Kurosawa for that contribution.
Yeah, basically. It all comes back to Seven Samurai. And
it really does.
And which, like, you know, again, I don't think this is really going to be a surprise to anybody listening or anybody on this podcast, but, like, I watched all 3 of them.
Mm-hmm.
I did a weird order where I watched the original Magnificent Seven first, then went back and watched Seven Samurai, and then went forward and watched the Magnificent Seven remake.
Interesting.
And you know,
how'd that hit you?
Seven Samurai is a masterpiece. It's a masterpiece. It's like,
one of the best films ever made. Like,
I really do want to watch it.
Ever made. Yeah, it's really good, and it's you know, it really is so patient and like with its characters and with the images it's building, like Toshiro Mifune's performance in this movie is like, has to literally be seen to be believed. I think, you know, he was an incredible physical actor in everything that he did, but there's something just about his performance in this movie that's just on another level. And you're kind of like, it's one of those movies where you're watching it and you're enjoying yourself, and while at the same time you're like, this is like, I'm watching film history reflected back at me right now, because all of this has been so influential and so legendary in so many ways, and so to, like, filmmakers and audiences and everything like that. And yeah, I mean, it's a fantastic film. The tragedy of it really, I think, hits the most out of all of them. I was very saddened by the ending of the original Magnificent Seven, which is very similar to Seven Samurai, but it hit me harder in Seven Samurai because I felt there was a little bit more time spent. That's what this, you know, 3.5 hours are for. It's like, you really get to know the characters and their relationships and what they're fighting for. And, like, I remember that, like, specifically that really beautiful moment in Seven Samurai where the silent knife guy basically goes off to get guns for them. The best character in across all 3 movies, let's be real. And he comes back out and he's like, oh, I killed one more, plus here's a gun, you know. And they've been keeping track of how many of the bandits that they've taken care of, basically. And the young guy, who is split into 2 characters in Seven Samurai. So in the Magnificent Seven, there's, like, one young guy who's, like, kind of a hothead and really wants to be like Yul Brynner and just thinks he's so incredible and so sexy.
Which he is right, kind of, to like, be clear.
He is right about that. But they kind of reject him at first because they're like, we don't really want you and your business on this very important thing that we're doing.
What does it say? They say that, like, graveyards are full of boys who are, like, too proud.
Yeah.
That sounds right. Yeah, I can't remember exactly.
They say something else. It was, like, too proud and, like, something like that. And that's, you know, that's his thing. That's his character's thing. Yeah, it's his fatal flaw. But eventually he
they're like, okay. And then he has this romance with one of the girls in the village. So in the original Seven Samurai, one of the other guys like looks up to Yul Brynner, the Yul Brynner character, I should say, has a romance with one of the girls in the village. And then Toshiro Mifune is the character who's like a hothead, used to be a farmer. They kind of don't want him to come with them, but they let him come with them anyway. So it's just for context. So the young guy who is the more stoic and responsible one finds Silent Knife Guy, just calling him that.
Yeah.
After that, and he was just like chilling and sitting down for a sleep, and he says, I think that you are just a magnificent person. And like he comes to him and says that, and then goes away, and the Silent Knife Guy is like just accepts that, and it's this really beautiful moment of them recognizing each other. And so when eventually that character is killed, the young character's reaction to that is so heartbreaking, because you know how much that they take the time to build those moments leading up to it. Because when they die, I mean, a couple of them die before the big battle at the end, but then when they start dying, they all start dying rather quickly. And it happens very brutally and very messily, and they don't really have the time to process the grief of suddenly losing all of these people that they've spent so much time with. Mm-hmm. So I think that that Seven Samurai does that really well. I did find it very moving, though, in the original, too. Just not quite as much, because I think that
the original's only 2 hours long.
The original Magnificent Seven is only 2 hours long.
Yeah.
So they, like, definitely cut, like, it is definitely some time is taken out. And so I think they do a pretty good job of capturing most of those character moments, but by default of deciding to not do a 3.5 hour movie, you lose some of that space that is given in the original.
Well,
and in the remake, I just didn't feel like that was present at all, apart from a couple of characters. So
they focused in the remake on making the individual characters feel like they had personality, and being like, here's what everyone's like thing is.
Yeah.
And it's like, and that came at the cost of like, what is their relationships?
Yeah.
And it's like okay, I'd rather, okay, first of all, one of them, I did not, the first guy who died, who his thing was that he like would scalp Native Americans for the government. I was like, cool. I'm actually kind of glad he's dead. Yeah. I did not give a shit about him at all.
Apart from the fact that he was played by Vincent D'Onofrio, giving a truly a more magnificent performance than this movie deserves.
Wondrously oddball thing going on there.
Yeah. To the point where I forgot that for a moment that was what his character did, and I had to be like, oh god, he has to stop making me really like him, because the premise for this character is so repulsive.
Yeah, it's a really weird, because that's not in the original Magnificent Seven at all, and I cannot figure out why they decided to do that. Especially because they added bizarre native characters, and it's like, why are you having these people kick it together? What is
and especially
happening?
Since the native character who joins their side is very cool. Don't get me wrong.
But he has no personality.
No, we don't know what his motivation is. He doesn't get to say much at all. We don't really know why he's there, what his backstory is. At some point, they learn that he speaks English, and it's like, whoa! And you're like, okay, well, great. What does he have to say about this whole thing? Can I know? No.
Yeah, they're like, what? Denzel talks to him, and he's like, hey, where's your, who are you kicking it with? What's up? And he's like, the elders of my tribe said that I have to have my own destiny away from here, and it's like, okay, and then Denzel's like, we're gonna go kick some asshole's ass, and he's like, all right, I'll come with you, and it's like that.
Yeah.
What?
it's a really interesting case of like, I don't know if I want to call it what the word for it is, not reverse diversity, but it's like, because like the original Magnificent Seven has just like, you know, a few problems with, you know, for example, Eli Wallach plays one of the bandits and he's playing a Mexican character. Eli Wallach is very much not Mexican, similar to his performance in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Yeah, they really kept looking at Eli Wallach and going, Mexican? And you're like,
yep, this guy's a Mexican.
Don't think so.
Nope, that's not correct. But okay, sure, do it more than once. Why not? And in this one they have the Native American character, and they also have a Mexican character as well, who's also a bad guy, who's like an outlaw who's killed somebody, who Denzel is like out
has
to
a bounty
arrest.
for. Yeah.
Has a bounty on his head. So you have one character who has no personality, and you have the other character who
also
is,
doesn't
like,
have a personality outside of he's an outlaw.
And who else doesn't have a personality? Yeah. The only, like, kind of interesting like, I find it really interesting that, you know, the character archetypes across all three movies, there are certain ones that are preserved and certain ones that are just like, whatever. Like, obviously, one is the leader, is consistent across all three movies. The only one that is consistent across all three movies besides the leader is Silent Knife Guy.
Yeah, Knife Guy.
Because they're like, this guy's way too cool.
We gotta have Silent Knife Guy go. Silent Knife Guy, not optional.
Well, you have young hothead.
His story remains the same.
Silent Knife Guy.
Yeah. Sometimes you have a young person, but
I think the Magnificent Seven remake suffers from not having the guy who's like 15 years younger than everybody else and kind of a dipshit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess you could argue that that's
Chris Pratt, I would say.
But
elements of Chris Pratt's character, but
he's too
also
confident.
He has no reason to be there. He doesn't have any kind of like.
Why does Denzel pick him? Is my question. Why is he like, dude, you gotta come with us? Because he hasn't seen him shoot. But he hasn't seen him shoot.
I don't know.
They talk at the bar, and then he's like, yo, can I get my horse back? And then Denzel's like, I gotta have this dude with me. And that's it. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Is it because he's the only guy who didn't run for me in the bar?
I think that it loses something when you don't have the tension between the young guy who looks up to these established gunslingers or samurai who are looking at him and seeing all of the other things they could have done with their lives.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's really important, I think, to the kind of commentary on the ways that masculinity reproduces itself. Is that you can look at him and think, well, it's too late for all of these guys can look at him and think, well, fuck, it's too late for me to do anything else. This is all, for better or worse, this is all I am ever going to be. But that kid could make different choices. But then he looks at them and he can't see anything other than how free they are. Or how exciting it is to be your own master and to be answerable to no one. And they're looking at him and thinking, damn kid, like, yeah, I can go wherever I want, but that means I don't have a home.
But that means I have nowhere to go back to.
Yeah, I have nowhere to go back to. I have nobody, I don't owe anybody anything, but that means nobody owes me anything either. And I think that takes some of the heart out of the remake, because you don't have, you can see people regret that it's like, well, you know, I always, that thing of like, I did always kind of think this lifestyle was going to catch up with me. And like, that's a different kind of regret.
Yeah, I think that the ending of Magnificent Seven, the remake, was very triumphant, even as
Yes!
it went over like the graves of people who had died. Whereas the ending of Seven Samurai is so fucking sad because the same like 4 people die in each movie. It's always exactly 4 of them who die, and Seven Samurai ends with that kid looking at the girl that he is in love with, and she's not looking back at him. As opposed to the Magnificent Seven remake, where it's like, I'm gonna go be in the village and be with my girl, and it's like, oh yay, there's something that comes out of that. No, it's like the farmers have now moved on from this thing, and so you're left with these 3 guys and these 4 graves, and the 2 older guys say to each other at the end, even though we won, it still feels like we lost. We lost. It's the farmers who won.
Yeah.
And so where are they at now? They just did all of this, and for what? What was it for? And it ends. I mean, like the Magnificent Seven remake ends. It does end on a shot of the 4 graves, but it's kind of like this sad sort of like.
As opposed to
what they died for, I guess.
Well,
fucking the remake, which had that horrible line at the end, and I
God!
I literally said, "Oh, boo!"
line?
out loud.
It was something like, "Oh, they did this,"
and
thing,
it was
and for
magnificent.
It was magnificent.
Yeah, and it's like you don't have to say the fucking title of the movie every.
It was so bad.
It was so bad that my eyes rolled back so far,
and they
into
each
my
had
skull that I saw the inside of
something
my brain.
on their grave to represent who they were, except for Billy, obviously, because
he's a special boy who needs no introduction.
We know her, we love her.
We know her, we love her.
It was so fucking stupid.
So
I was like, what?
I am left thinking with the thing that there's some weird decisions that I think the remake makes, and one of them is that, first of all, the remake does this thing that, like, not all neo-westerns, but I feel like the 2010s neo-westerns really felt the need to do, which was like mix in DNA of other genres. Mostly action films. This really reminds me of watching of 310 to Yuma and the 310 to Yuma remake, and the way that like there's just a lot more stunts and stuff, and like more sort of involved action sequences in the 310 to Yuma remake than there are in the original. And this one does the same thing. Like the gunfights in the original Magnificent Seven are very exciting, but they're guys with pistols and rifles occasionally. It's mostly people shooting each other with pistols. Like, it's handguns. And the Magnificent Seven remake is like
they have the Gatling gun at one point.
They pull out a Gatling gun,
which is crazy.
The power relations are really different because the in Seven Samurai and in the original Magnificent Seven, this is a village preyed upon by bandits. This is like you are fighting non-state sanctioned violence with other non-state sanctioned violence. It is a situation of people who have been abandoned by the systems that they should be able to expect to protect them. When you get to the Magnificent Seven remake, the villain is a robber baron. They try to do like the villain is capitalism thing, but in a which I should like more, but it just doesn't work very well because it's a completely different. It just creates a completely different dynamic right from the start, and then it keeps going where you have this guy who's like just cartoonishly avaristic and evil in a way that, you know, a lot of early capitalists and indeed current capitalists absolutely are. Like, this dude like really looks like this dude. Yeah, it is Peter Skarsgård looking like he eats babies. And
it's a really
probably does.
like strange,
weird fucking performance
oddball
too.
performance.
I'm gonna be honest.
D'Onofrio's, where it's like,
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't really. I thought it was. I didn't really like it. It didn't hit for me. Sorry, my guy.
It was not.
That's probably a fault of the direction. I tend not to blame actors for that kind of thing. But so you have this very different setup of. It's a kind of violence that is explicitly likened to strike breaking, and the idea that it is money that gives you the ability to wield violence with impunity rather than the absence of law. And it takes and then you start with Denzel Washington in the Yul Brynner role. And he is a law enforcement officer. Like, right from the jump, they make a big deal that he is a sanctioned bounty hunter. The stuff that he's doing is outside of that, but he has actual license to wield violence in the name of government authority.
In 7 states.
In 7 states, and that
including
is
Arkansas.
Every time they say Arkansas,
he says it as Arkansas.
What the fuck?
I think that might be how people used to say it. I don't know, but
that's unbelievable.
And they say, okay,
he also
so
says
this guy is
Vaquero.
He does say Vaquero
as opposed to
Vaquero, and you're like,
yeah. And I was like, what the fuck did you just say to me?
Like every time they
we quiz, I swear,
say Yo Te Cuero in the fucking that one Clash song, which drives me insane. I really like Spanish bombs. Anyway, not to get sidetracked. So, which Denzel Washington, always a pleasure to watch. The guy is a movie star. He's very good at just he's just good at anchoring a movie. He's very skilled. He looks fucking handsome as shit in this movie.
He is very handsome in this movie.
Yeah,
he's very fucking good looking in this movie. But
he just is not serving.
Ethan Hawke after this.
I mean, I have lots of things to say about Ethan Hawke in this movie, and indeed generally. Many of them probably don't need to make it into the final cut of this recording.
Listen, say what you need to say, and then I will shame myself about Ethan Hawke, okay. And then maybe you can support me.
I probably will. So. They do this thing that I think it is cool that they went, the main character of this movie is black. I'm like, that's fucking awesome. I feel like they feel the need to justify it in universe by being like, people are skeptical of this guy because he's black, and then he is like, I have authority bestowed upon me by the government. The same government that is letting this dipshit get away with poisoning this whole valley so he can mine in it, but that's a separate story. And that, like, that's why why people respect him. Whereas it's not because of it's a different niche.
Mm-hmm.
Because the thing about the guys the Ronin in Seven Samurai and the gunmen in the original Magnificent Seven is that they are not deputies. They are not they are not anything. They have power because they wield violence. They do not have sanction to wield that violence. Nobody does in that scenario.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a very different dynamic. And from there, you have him seeking out, and not all of the characters are like this, but a lot of the people is like, I'm going and looking for this specific guy because he is, like, special for XYZ reasons. And it's a lot more like the getting the gang together thing from a heist movie than it is just saying, we need people in this particular mold and there are a lot of them, and we will sort of be able to select the ones who are worth it. Like, you know what I mean? It's like
the selection of not Steve McQueen, sorry, of
no, Steve McQueen just shows up.
Charles Bronson and James Coburn is in particular is kind of like, we need to find just the weirdest fucking people, because those are the only people who would do this kind of job to begin with.
Right.
Like, the people who are chopping wood, just sitting around throwing knives and, like, you know, just minding their business. These are the kinds of people that we need to get. It's not, and like,
I need to find my fellow freaks.
Yes, people with skills.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we need to find the guys who are just like, apart from Yul Brynner's friend who's like, I want to do it. Just, I know there's gold. Don't worry about it. You can say there's no gold. I know there's gold. And, like, there isn't any gold. He ends up dying anyway. Like, apart from him, it's just like, they just find these guys who are just like, yeah, sure, what the fuck, I'll do it.
They're functionally, they could be anybody. They
exactly.
could be any one of these more or less anonymous men whose defining trait is they make their lives by violence.
Mm-hmm.
They're not, you know, the remake wants them all to be like, have a specific unique thing that makes them cool, which is like, I'm not saying that's like a bad choice, but again, I think it waters down the aspect of sort of, I think it takes the desperation away.
Also, it doesn't execute it very well anyway. Like, outside of the fact that I don't think it's a good choice, there's multiple characters where I'm like, what's his thing? He has a bounty on him. Okay. What, what's his thing? He's an asshole. Okay. Also, okay, once again, also, Ethan Hawke fought for the South?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, check this guy out, and they're like, he's
fought for the South, and Denzel is like, it's cool.
It's like, he's like, it's fine.
Yeah.
The war's over
the
for both
war's
of us.
over.
I'm like,
it's cool.
That man killed people for the right of other people to fucking think they could own human beings as property. No! I don't care how hot he is.
It's
Fuck
not
you.
cool. The war is not over.
I think I was at that when that part of his character background was mentioned. I was fully in like Franklin Shepherd Inc. mode. And my brain was going do do do. Oh, what? What's the character? Oh, never mind. Doesn't matter. And
you're
so
like, it's Ethan Hawke with good facial hair. Next
yeah,
question.
they were like, we're going to make this movie
Ethan
more
Hawke.
inclusive, and in doing so, we're going to make multiple characters racist.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ethan Hawke is somebody who, the stinkier his character looks, the hotter I find him. There, I've said it. That's all I want to say about my problem with Ethan Hawke. And by I mean problem, it's my problem. It's not his problem.
I like that this was some big confession.
This is the same way I feel about Viggo Mortensen.
I know.
Yeah,
that's true.
It's like,
that's why he's so good in Hidalgo.
Looks like
Hidalgo.
busted in this movie. He's got the golden tooth. He's like,
my man is like
okay, sure.
My man is like 3 seconds away from getting the fucking DT, like the like alcohol withdrawal shakes at any minute.
Yeah.
And yet
he's.
And also,
if you choose to simply edit out the information that he fought for the Confederacy, he's very hot.
First of all, he's very hot, and also I think genuinely giving a good performance. Again,
it's true.
Better than this movie has any right to hold within it.
Yeah, this is a movie where a lot of people are like giving their all, and it's like, this movie does not deserve for you to give it your all.
A lot of people really brought their A game to that movie, and it ends up.
It's like Toby Stevens in that one James Bond movie, and it's like,
God,
for what?
It's so true.
I was talking about this the other day. That's why it came up.
It's too
like, you didn't have to do all of that.
Complicated. Like, I do think that I think that like one of the things that appeals about classic westerns is the simplicity. It operates on very they operate the really, especially the really, like, you know, the ones that have stood the test of time, they operate on a very economical storytelling model, you know, and even literally these are very often men of few words. It's a specific kind of, you know, every man is an island shit going on that is just that just doesn't work as well, because you expect action movies to be more verbal now. Everybody's gotta be...
It's the Marvel disease.
The remake of The Magnificent Seven does have a little bit of the Marvel disease.
And not just because Chris Pratt is in it. Because, I mean, this was...
he is a separate disease all on his own. That's
a separate
look. One of the most satisfying things about the Magnificent Seven remake is Chris Pratt blows himself up. Spoilers for the Magnificent Seven remake.
It's true.
That moment was funny.
Cool. Yeah.
Like that moment was both funny and cool. Like I that one worked for me. And you have, I don't know, like, there are good, it's not like it's a bad movie. I actually liked it a lot more than I expected to, because I remembered the remake pretty fondly from when I had seen it when it first came out, sort of before I had developed film taste. Not before, but, you know, I remembered it as, like, an enjoyable evening, or, like, afternoon at the cinema. And I'm really glad I've seen the original now, and also coming back to it after having seen Seven Samurai, I was like, okay, you know, this movie, like, has a lot of swings and misses, and a lot of sort of just, like, kind of inexplicable decisions. But I don't know. I feel like it tries to do too much.
I agree. Yep.
In a way that ends up, you know, you end up with less, because you're so focused on what makes the individual characters cool. They don't really cohere as a unit because they don't have enough in common. That's the thing. I feel like it kind of just... That's a fundamental aspect of both Seven Samurai and The Magnificent Seven, is that these men are all the same. They have all, wherever they came from, they live more or less the same life. And so they understand each other, and they understand each other's sort of strengths and weaknesses because it's their own. You know, they know what to expect from each other because they know what to expect from themselves. The Magnificent Seven remake ends up being a little bit more... in my mind, it's too much like a heist crew, where everybody has to have their thing, as opposed to one guy can't do this, we need 7 of him. And, like, yeah, they have different, like, fighting styles, kind of, but it's not, you know, it's not a superhero team-up. And I feel like the remake wants them to be a lot more distinctive in a way that ends up that ends up diluting the point about, like, what it is that these men are doing and why, and, like, what they have to look forward to or don't have to look forward to. You know, not all of these... that group of people are not all facing the same kind of, you know, the societal niche that I exist in is going away. Like, that, to me, that aspect just doesn't come forward into the remake in a way that I think is just takes away some of the poignancy.
The remake feels very much like the fantasy the America West. The American West. In that it is kind of like a fairy tale that is ongoing, you know? Like, there's always going to be the bandits and the bounty hunters and the people hiding from the law, and the people helping the towns, and that is never ending. Where these guys, it feels so much more real in the original. It feels very much like they are all clearly aware of what they've lost in their lives. They have a whole conversation about it.
Yeah, they do.
They feel like actual human beings and not like a graphic novel or a comic book.
The Magnificent Seven remake really feels like a graphic novel, and I don't necessarily mean that in a negative way, just in a, like, it's a stylistic difference.
It feels like the remake feels like the story that these people are telling their grandkids like 40 years from now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It does.
All in all, I feel like all of its problems come down to this thing of, like, it's a remake of a classic movie that is in itself a remake of a classic movie that is painfully aware, like self-aware of the fact that it's a remake. So it's like, well, what can we do that's different? And it's like, at that point, if you have the skill to do it, just write an original Western. Not to say that I'm against remakes, but if you're going to, like, look at that text and then say, what if we didn't do everything that works about it and do all of this stuff that's the opposite of what works? It kind of feels like you're just sort of trying to be big and flashy for the sake of being big and flashy, up to the point where it's like, the thing that really did bother me at the end of having Peter Sarsgaard having and Denzel Washington.
Oh, this drove me insane.
Beef.
This drove me
insane.
Really mad.
There was a thing that Ethan Hawke, because Ethan Hawke is kind of a combination of two of the characters, the Steve McQueen character and one of the other characters in the original.
Yeah, he
knows Denzel.
He crucially has the, like, my abilities with a gun are failing me thing that is the Robert Vaughn character in the original, who I mention specifically because, one, I am a known original Man from U.N.C.L.E. fan, and two, I'm changing my fucking display name to Robert Vaughn's cunty little gloves. He is the original Napoleon Solo in Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Crazy.
He's Robert Vaughn from my gift sets of Man from U.N.C.L.E. on my Tumblr that sometimes I look at and go,
you know what
that's
happens?
Crazy.
You know what happened here is that I forgot that I didn't grow up with the two of you, which meant that you were not also watching. Once again, I forgot that you were not also watching Man from U.N.C.L.E. on VHS in my friend Nellie's basement with us.
Yeah.
Because we didn't meet till we were in our 20s.
It's
not
a
too
thing
late.
that I definitely am interested in going back and exploring.
Agreed.
But I've primarily experienced it through the gift sets of it, which I look up every now and again deliberately, even though I've never seen a single episode of the show, because the shit that they put on that television screen with the two of them was crazy, girl. It was crazy.
It's really quite a lot of it's really quite homosexual.
Quite a lot.
I know what TV show I'm watching next.
I have to actually sometimes go back and to do it just to convince myself that I wasn't hallucinating it that one time.
Yeah.
But yes, so I call him Robert Vaughn from my Man from U.N.C.L.E. gift sets because I was like, where do I know
He's
him from?
quite
My dad was
handsome.
listing all of these things. He's very cute. I was kind of like gender.
My mom likes to joke.
Very handsome.
Really hot in that movie.
Very hot.
My mom likes to joke that because Man from U.N.C.L.E. and the original Star Trek were on at a similar time, and that one of the great debates amongst young female fans of those shows was it basically boiled down to, do you prefer blondes or brunettes? Because the question was always, are you into, do you prefer Robert Vaughn or oh my god, what's that guy's fucking name?
The other one.
It's gonna bug me. Okay. And then it's like, do you think Kirk, or like, are you a Kirk fan or a Spock fan? And my mom likes to joke that, of course, she had a staunch preference for the brunettes, and then, married my dad, who is a short guy with dark brown hair.
Yeah. David McCallum.
David McCallum, thank you.
Kuryakin.
Ilya Kuryakin, yeah.
Anyway.
Sorry.
Tangent. So Ethan Hawke is...
Yeah.
that character. He drops a little thing early on where he, like, brings up something about Denzel's past, where he's like, yeah, your sisters is about that, pursuing your past. And I was like, okay, so that's a kind of, like, interesting little drop of character of, like, Denzel has had some, my close personal friend, Denzel Washington.
Yeah, excuse me.
Has had some, like...
We cannot think of without thinking about
something in his past happened.
His son's in the criteria closet.
Oh my god.
Jackie Chan box set, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
I do know what you're saying. Sorry. That is so
it's like, it's the two of us, and also both sides of me, like, that are also always, like, not even at war with each other, just, like, in tandem with each other, going, like, yeah, man. Anyway, he has his sister, and you're like, oh, okay, so his sister died. That's kind of like what his motivation is this kind of, my impression was this oblique sense of, I need to avenge people in general because I have had tragedy in my past.
Yeah, and like, I have nowhere to go. I have nothing to go back to for a very specific reason.
Exactly. No, turns out, he confronts Peter Sarsgaard at the end of the movie when no one is left, and it's just the two of, there's two other characters who have survived, but they're not there at the time. And he's like, oh, remember, he, like, corners him into a church, and he's like, remember the particular place in Kansas, this town that you basically burned to the ground, essentially, like, was responsible for doing the same thing that he's doing to the town in this movie now. And it takes him a while, and then he's like, oh, no, yeah, I remember you, and he, like, killed Denzel's mother and his sisters, and basically, I think, tried to
raped his mom, killed his sisters,
raped his mom,
and I think the implication is then, like tried to lynch him.
Yes.
And you're like, whoa!
So then he tries to, like, strangle Peter Sarsgaard's character with, like, strangle him with a rope, and it was like, okay, it bothered me. Because we're now getting a glimpse of what Denzel Washington's character is, but it's to justify it's to make this purpose for fighting a personal beef with the same guy who's done it before, instead of what motivates the Yul Brynner character in Magnificent Seven, and we haven't mentioned his name yet, but I just wanted to do that now. Takashi Shimura's character in the original, who is the equivalent that Yul Brynner plays, who is another, like, big Kurosawa power player who appeared in a lot of his other ones. Very, very different energy from Toshiro Mifune. You have to have both types. So it's like they're both motivated by a general altruistic, sense of, this doesn't seem like a winning fight. There's no money in it, but I feel like I have to do this because it's the right thing to do in this particular situation. And if I die, I die. Which in of itself is more of an interesting character choice than any personal backstory you could use to try and, like, do an insert about what is motivating this character for 2 hours of film time. And it really takes away the whole fucking point of the entire movies itself. I understand why they felt they had to do something like that, but it is once again a sort of, like, superhero movie type thing, or something like that, where and that sometimes that works in superhero movies, but it didn't really work here. It really took me personally out of the whole picture at that point. I was like, I was already kind of like, this isn't great. And then at that point, I was like, well, that's just not...
This has become a revenge movie over a movie of, like, we're doing something good for goodness sake, even though we're a bunch of, good-for-nothing outlaws.
Freaks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that idea...
Like, don't get me wrong. Robber barons... hate them the worst. Yeah. Would love to, that's the thing is, like, I don't have to have personal beef with robber barons. If I were in a Magnificent Seven situation and someone was like, hey, you want to come fight robber barons, I'd be like, sure, don't need a reason, just tell me where to stand and I'll do it. They sucked. But so it's like, you don't... I get it that he's horrible, and they made him as horrible as possible again as a way of raising the stakes of the story, but it just doesn't work.
Well,
yeah, it's unnecessary.
I think that's where I come down on it, is that the movie would be stronger without that whole sequence. It's... Even if you leave in the implication that maybe this time it's personal for Denzel Washington's character, and you leave that ambiguous, that this is somebody who is maybe not being honest with the men he's recruiting, or he's not being transparent about his motivations, fine. But and I do want to give the movie a little bit of credit for thinking about how much 2016 sucked the big one, for just the idea that, like, the violence here, that is the violence that is being done to these people, comes from economic inequality, as opposed to sort of two groups of people who are ultimately, like, just trying to make, two groups of people who don't really have any power and who have chosen really opposite ways of, like, scraping out a place in society, that you say, okay, well, like, actually the most likely threat to a whole town is gonna be, some rich motherfucker who thinks that because he has money it means that he gets to play God, which I do think is like a true and kind of admirable angle to take for a story. But I think that trying to shoehorn it on top of the formula of the Magnificent Seven, I just think that's the wrong vehicle to tell that story. It's trying to be two not particularly compatible things at the same time.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, and I really do. I absolutely agree that it takes away that having this sort of reveal that this is this deeply, deeply personal mission of revenge, very justified revenge, but, like, it I think that it ends up letting the characters off the hook in a way that I don't think is really that interesting. Because I think another thing especially about the original Magnificent Seven, is that, like, these guys aren't necessarily good people.
Yeah.
These are men who have wielded violence both in, like, positive and in negative ways in their life. Like, they're not avenging angels. They're guys with guns. And they're a tool. And they kind of end up having to reckon with the fact that, like, they've made, they've all fashioned themselves into tools, and I think for a lot of them kind of not cared what they were like wielded in service of. You get that vibe. Some more than others.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, maybe sometimes they've gone after bad people, but other times maybe they haven't. And you end up with this question of, like, how redemptive is this choice to fight for, to take this probably futile job for very little remuneration, and how much of that is like an outlier for how these men normally behave. And I feel like having it be this like, oh, surprise, you know, like, and like you said, Helena, like, we get it, man, this dude deserved to get exploded. Like, he's extremely evil, even before you get the whole, oh yeah, and also I murdered your family specifically and attempted to lynch you. Like, we know he's bad. You've done a perfectly good job of explaining why it is extremely justified for them to try to blow this guy up. It ends up, I feel like at the last minute the movie just decides that it can't actually trust its own storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Also, totally unrelated, but one of his, like, henchmen is, no word of a lie, one of the evil vampires from the first Twilight movie.
That's who you were talking about.
And I looked at him and I went, that motherfucker is from Twilight. And then I was like, somebody needs to take me out behind the chemical sheds.
For knowing a guy from Twilight?
I cannot. I'm just like, I try so hard not to spend a lot of time thinking about Twilight.
You have seen, like, all of them,
like,
though.
You, me, and Jesus, you know?
Yeah,
like,
this is true.
Us?
Okay, fair. I actually haven't seen
I'm free
Breaking
of sin.
Dawn, part 1 or 2.
I think I've actually seen Breaking Dawn part 1. So, between the two of us, we've seen all of the Twilight movies.
I haven't seen the last one. I haven't seen part 2.
Yeah, I think it was part 1, yeah.
But I read the book.
I did read all of the books, so, like...
I only ever read the first one.
And Maddie, as you know, we were at the midnight release party.
We were at the midnight release party, so...
For Breaking Dawn. If for reference, his name is Cam Gigande.
Oh, this guy, I knew his
I don't know
face.
how you say his name.
Yeah, I think of him as that guy with the weird name that I can't say.
He's also in Easy A. He's in Priest. Yeah. That's the other thing I know him from. He's from Your Friend
Priest?
and Mine, Priest. A movie that, again, when I tell people,
my acquaintance.
I was gonna say,
when I tell people that, like,
me.
hey, it's okay, I like a lot of garbage, and they go, really, Ezra, what? And I'm like, let me explain
Doom
to you
2004.
the movie Priest 2011, also Doom 2004.
That's mine.
Yeah.
How much time do you have?
Every time I
convince
really someone to
thing,
watch that movie, I get so much stronger. Sorry, go ahead.
You know how sometimes, like, you go to a certain kind of, like, a website a lot on your phone or your computer, but you go to a specific page within that website a lot more than others, and so sometimes when you try to go to that main page, it takes you instead to the page that you used to go to a lot. You guys know what I mean, right?
I do. This is how I get to specific pages on the Infinity Break website to post my podcasts. Yeah,
so on my phone, for some reason, for a really long time, whenever I was like, I wonder what those crazy people on TV tropes are saying right now, I needed to look something up about a character thing, and I was like, well, I might as well go to fucking TV tropes and do it, because at least I know that'll have something about that.
Sure.
It would automatically say, hey, do you want to go to the TV tropes page for Van Helsing? And I was like,
oh god.
No, even now, when I type it into my phone, if I type in TV tropes, it's like, you want to go to the one for Van Helsing, right? And every time I was like, well, no. And I can't even remember why I would have done that, outside of the obvious reasons being that, like, I've recorded more than one podcast episode about Van Helsing. But then it would be like, I don't have enough energy to type. I'm so lazy. I can't just type the just regular TV trope. So I'm like, yeah, what the fuck? Sure, take me to the Van Helsing page. The side effect of this, of course, is that now it says it more often. Do you want to go to the Van Helsing TV tropes page? Anyway, this is another vampire movie that I've seen far more times than I would have ever cared to, but it is a frenemy of mine, of course, as we all know, just like Priest.
Mm-hmm.
That this actor is in. Congratulations to Cam.
Yeah. I'm glad he's getting work.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, that's the crucial thing.
That was my... I feel like it's time to bring this one to a close.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do we have anything else crucial that we want to cover?
I mean, the only
do you
thing
have
that I
another
have
ranking that you'd like to share?
Oh no, I was just gonna say that the like single thing that I remembered from seeing the Magnificent Seven remake 9 or whatever years ago was me sitting there thinking, oh wow, Ethan Hawke, and I don't want to fuck up this guy's name, so I'm gonna look it up again.
Lee Byung-hun?
Yes.
I probably also didn't do that well, but yes.
Yes, that he and Ethan Hawke's characters were kind of gay for each other.
The vibes are there for
And
sure. You guys were saying that,
there.
and I was like, okay, like, sometimes we say that, but it's not actually, like, true. And then I was watching the movie, and I was like, damn, okay, never mind.
I know, I remember going, I was like, that was probably just like, you know, slash goggles or whatever, and then I watched it, and I was like,
Fujo and me saying, like...
No, I was right.
Gay people. There are gay people on your television.
Yeah.
There were, in fact, gay people on my television.
I also... The Magnificent Seven remake tries really hard to be less sexist than the original, and also, frankly, than Seven Samurai. And it does...
But it's not.
It mostly just... They have this, like, interesting woman there, and then they just don't do anything with her. And it kind of just is... She's
a strong female character.
It's very 2016. And I'm like,
she's
man,
so cool,
like,
and I was so bummed that they just, like, didn't do
They don't know what
that.
to do with her. And I'm like, you know what you could have just done? There's 7 of them! Make one of them a woman! Like,
yeah, because...
Have it be a fucking have it be a fucking like Eowyn reveal moment. Like, I don't know, dude.
Yeah.
Like, have the like shithead kid character be revealed. Like, have one of the characters be like, you're like, oh wow, he must be really young, and it turns out that it's you're like, oh, actually that's a woman. Like, I do something. Don't present me with this cool woman with great hair and then just be like, and we don't know what to do with her.
It just becomes as like she's a strong female character because she goes out all by herself and it's because her husband was killed. Her husband, who's played by Matt Bomer.
Matt Bomer is in this movie, and I saw him and I was like, oh shit, Matt Bomer's in this movie, and then he gets shot like immediately.
Yeah, I was like,
there for like 5 beautiful, glorious seconds, and you're like, God damn, who's that handsome man?
Who's my handsome man?
He actually looks like he looks like a cartoon character, but like
it's crazy.
He's got those big, beautiful eyes.
Like, that man's eyes are so big.
His hair is so dark and his eyes are so beautiful, and I like the thing about that.
And we all watched.
Very sad. Like,
he's the only blue-eyed man I'll allow.
But it ends up being like that's her only character thing is like. She's motivated by the death of her husband. Okay, and? She's
also motivated by revenge, and I feel like they could have done something interesting there. I'm a big fan of... vicious. Like, Western woman has had her husband fringed, and now she learns how to use a gun and is out for revenge. I'm a big Red Dead Redemption 2 fan, and obviously...
Yeah, shit's
good. Sadie of Red Dead Redemption 2 has that exact thing. Is that she's like, fuck it, I'm gonna become an outlaw. The outlaw's murdered my husband. Great, I'll become one. Fuck you. And she kicks ass and she's cool. And I was like, oh, are they... I don't remember a lot about this movie. Are they, like, gonna do something with that? And the answer was, no. And I was like, okay. What do I know, I guess? Nothing. She does get a kill the Skarsgård though, so apologies to
that is
the
true.
Skarsgård. I've forgotten which one you are immediately. Peter, thank you.
Who's the one that
He's not a Skarsgård. Let's be clear. He's a Sarsgaard.
Oh, he's a Sarsgaard?
I was so confused because I misread his last name and I was
the last name.
Where I was like, they keep inventing new Skarsgårds.
Okay, you understand my confusion then in speed reading the last name and then being like another one?
No. Yeah,
Sarsgaard.
no, he's not. I know it's confusing.
Okay.
Because
well,
he's also
apologies
blonde,
to Peter.
And you're like,
then.
I don't know. You could be Swedish, I guess.
I don't know.
He's not. He's American, and he's married to Maggie Gyllenhaal.
Oh,
anyway,
congratulations.
Oh, that's why I know who he is.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
He's good generally. I don't know what's going on in this movie. He's just like human flop sweat. He's like,
it's kind of one of those things where
really,
it's like everyone's doing their best here, I think.
Well,
yeah, he's I don't know. What his performance is.
Choose. I feel like the movie feels like it has to kind of make him crazy. Like he has to be like a little bit. He has to be like unhinged, and I'm like, there's not. I'm like, no. This was just like this was just like a real, like totally, like that. That's basically like that could have been a real guy, and like you didn't have to be crazy to be that kind of evil. It's the capitalism is enough.
Like Gene Hackman in like Quick and the Dead sort of situation where it's like Gene Hackman's thing is like he played a villain so well in both Quick and the Dead and Unforgiven, which came out the same year, or like a year apart or something like that. And the thing is that it's because Gene Hackman is so good at acting and also like being a normal guy but totally evil at the same time, so he doesn't have to. You're like, this guy is not crazy ever in either one of those movies. He's just a really, really bad dude, like a seriously bad dude, whereas Peter Sarsgaard's, I don't know if this was a choice he made or director choice. It's like he's a psychopath, like literally, or something is like he can't care about anything. He doesn't care about anything. So it's this disconnected, like barely here sort of like until all of a sudden he's faced with the fact that he's going to die, and then he just becomes weak and pathetic and everything. So it's not a very, it's a kind of weird character choice. I think it doesn't quite work, because at a certain point you're just like, come alive a little bit, man. You know?
The coolest part was when he had that bit at the beginning about how capitalism is God in America. He had a very brief speech, and I was like, this is kind of slapping. And then that was like it.
Yeah.
Isn't that right, Mortimer? He's sitting outside my door screaming.
How would Mortimer rank the Magnificent Seven movies?
He was unconscious during the first one, or during the 1961.
He knows.
So and he was not in my room for. I think he was in my room for the remake, but he kind of just kept going and leaving. So I don't like that's it.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't have a lot to say on that. He's not really a movie guy, despite being my son. When there's a movie playing, his job in his mind is to stand in front of the TV and yell at me. So
okay.
You know how it is. Yeah, kids, am I right?
Mm-hmm. He's more into like what is it? What's the show that all the teens are watching these days? Stranger Things season 5?
Sure.
I don't fucking know.
I was going to say he prefers performance art. You can tell by the screaming.
Yeah, for sure. He's an opera man, if you will.
Okay.
Oh, you're raising a little Niles Crane, are you?
Yeah, I think so. Kind of accidentally. I should put on Frasier for him and see what he thinks.
The temptation to name a cat Niles.
Now, here's what's really interesting. You have exactly the number of people. You have enough people in your household to have a Niles, a Frasier, a Daphne, and a dad. Now, you obviously are
Go ahead.
the dad.
Hit it. There we go. I knew it.
Yep. No, you're the dad. This, of course, makes Arwen Frasier, and it makes Amanda Daphne. Alternatively, Amanda could be Frasier, and Arwen could be Daphne.
No, I think the cats are Frasier and Niles.
Okay, yeah. That makes sense. Okay, I'm glad that we established this and got that out of the way.
Very important.
Anyway, overall, what are we feeling?
I mean,
I'm feeling like toss with inscribable eggs.
God damn it! I stand by my prediction from previously. That, it really is
what happened?
Seven Samurai with the steel chair.
Yep.
But I think that I liked the Magnificent Seven remake more than I expected to. There were parts of it that I didn't think worked that well, but overall, like, it was a fun movie. I don't think it's as good as the remake, but I do also feel like it gets points from me for doing something different. Like, it is not a beat for beat remake.
Mm-hmm.
I don't agree with all of the choices it makes in reimagining the story, but I feel like it gets points for, like, trying to elaborate on a theme. And obviously, Seven Samurai is one of the best films ever made in any language, and if you're only going to watch one of them, watch that one.
Mm-hmm.
Watch that one.
But
I agree.
I do think, once again, the original does win out over the remake.
Yeah, I just think the remake is not a bad movie, and it was the first one I saw, and clearly I liked it enough to buy... No, I didn't buy it. I accidentally stole it from a red box, in that I rented it out and then forgot to return it. So clearly I liked it enough to accidentally keep it. But I don't know, it's just kind of boring. Just watch the original and Seven Samurai.
Yeah. And, of course, A Bug's Life.
I watch A Bug's Life, yeah.
Yeah, crucial element of this. Watch A Bug's Life.
Just watch A Bug's Life.
Is that the
and
we're taking
Frasier.
The thing we're taking away? And Frasier.
Yeah.
Should we do a Frasier episode?
Oh, God.
No.
I'm mostly joking.
I'm
mostly joking.
My parents watched so much Frasier when I was, like, really... that was just on in my house when I was a little too young to appreciate it. And so I just... Oh, God.
It's a...
Contact Bed.
Fantastic show. No. I mean, if he wants to do a Frasier... I feel just like I don't have the patience to do a TV episode.
Neither do I. Yeah, go on Syndicated with Leslie and Ben. Syndicated with Leslie and Ben, on the Infinity Break Network.
Nice plug. I also feel like I can just reference Frasier a lot on this show.
You could just continue to do that, and that would work.
Good right now. Considering my profile picture is literally still Niles.
Uh-huh.
You know what I just realized?
What?
That's really funny in terms of, like, that I feel like actually quite succinctly sums up what they do with the characters between the original and the remake of The Magnificent Seven.
Mm.
None of those guys have fucking last names in the original.
Yeah, they do.
Or they don't... Do they not? I feel like
it's Bernardo O'Reilly, remember?
Oh, yeah, you learn his, but, like, not everybody is, like, first name, last
Almost
name.
everybody else has one name.
And everybody in the remake has a first and last name.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think it has to do with, like, that to me just sums up the kind of, like, feeling the need to elaborate.
Yeah.
In a way
I will also say...
I don't know.
Sorry.
But that being said, the name Goodnight Robichaud fucks really hard.
It's really fucking cool. Here's the one last thing I'll say that I was thinking. Calling him Goody. Mortimer, you just gotta hold your damn horses. if anyone can't tell, I
Just
definitely...
hearing the blues of Colin.
is the kitten in the room with us? No. We all know that I got a kitten. I think that was on like an episode, but I may not have published an episode since then. I don't fucking know. And he's now 8 months old, and he has learned to scream really, really, really loud to get what he wants. But I was gonna say,
'cause he's my baby.
1960 2 hours is really different from 2016 2 hours.
You're so right.
The like economy of time from the 60s is like they're very efficient with how they are spending their 2 hours. It was very interesting and being like, wow, this the both movies are almost the exact same length and they feel so different. The original Magnificent Seven feels so much longer. So much more happens. That was one thing I was like, I have to remember to say this on Sequel.
Hell yeah.
Mo.
And since I think we've made good use of our, all coming up on 2 hours. Damn.
Yeah.
This was fun. I have missed talking about movies, and I think this was a good combo. I enjoyed watching both of these movies, and I enjoyed pitting them against each other. And
agreed.
With that, I'm gonna take us out.
Okay, get us out of here.
Thanks for hanging out with us here on Sneeple at the Movies from the Infinity Break Network. Check out infinitybreak.net for more awesome content, and come chat with us on the Infinity Break Discord. You can find it at bit.ly/I Talks. You can also shoot us an email at sneepleatthemovies@gmail.com. If you've got a subject you want to hear us talk about, a movie you think we absolutely need to see, or have a good modern western to recommend. Our Oscar-worthy music was done by Johnny Ronaldo, who you can find hanging out on our Discord, and our glorious Technicolor logo was designed by Bethany Luthold. If you enjoyed listening, please leave us a review on iTunes and share the show with your friends, your enemies, and your partners in crime. As always, thank you for listening, and we'll see you at the movies.